The British passenger liner RMS Titanic hits an iceberg in the North Atlantic and begins to sink. What if the safest ship ever built was already doomed before it sailed? RMS Titanic was a British ocean liner operated by the White Star Line. She was the largest ship afloat when she entered service. On her maiden voyage she sailed from Southampton, England bound for New York City in April 1912. Aboard were 2,208 passengers and crew. Some of the wealthiest people in the world. And hundreds of emigrants seeking a new life in America. Titanic was the second of 3 Olympic-class ocean liners built by Harland and Wolff in Belfast, Ireland. She was designed to be the pinnacle of comfort and luxury. A gymnasium. A swimming pool. A Victorian-style Turkish bath. The ship had advanced safety features, watertight compartments and remotely activated watertight doors. Many called her unsinkable. Captain Edward John Smith commanded the voyage. Thomas Andrews Jr., the ship's chief architect, was also on board. Late in the night on April 14, 1912, Titanic struck an iceberg in the North Atlantic Ocean. The damage was fatal. In the early hours of April 15, the ship began to sink. What followed was one of the deadliest peacetime maritime disasters in history. Approximately 1,500 people died. Of 2,208 aboard, only around 700 survived. The ocean showed no mercy. Titanic carried 20 lifeboats in total. Together they could hold 1,178 people, roughly half the passengers on board, and a third of her full capacity. The British Board of Trade required 14 lifeboats for a ship her size. Titanic carried 6 more than required. She still did not have enough. When the ship sank, the lifeboats that had been lowered were carrying an average of just 60% of their rated capacity. 4 of the boats were collapsible. They proved extremely difficult to prepare for launch as the ship was going down. Captain Edward John Smith went down with the ship. Thomas Andrews Jr., the chief architect, also died in the disaster. White Star Line's chairman, J. Bruce Ismay, survived, rescued in a lifeboat. His survival drew widespread criticism from the public and the press. The disaster shocked the world. It drew massive public attention and spurred major changes in maritime safety regulations. It also inspired a lasting legacy in popular culture, one that continues more than a century later. Here is a detail that surprises many people. White Star Line had lost a ship on her maiden voyage once before, RMS Taylor, back in 1854. Titanic's name comes from the Titans of Greek mythology. Her parent company, IM, was controlled by American financier J.P. Morgan. White Star's chairman, J. Bruce Ismay, chose to compete on size, not speed. His rivals at Cunard had the fastest ships. He wanted the most luxurious. Titanic's davits could have held up to 48 lifeboats total. Only 20 were ever placed on board. That decision cost lives. A disaster that changed maritime law. 1,500 lives lost in a single night. All because a ship deemed unsinkable met an iceberg in the dark. Follow at Get Daily History worth knowing. One story a day.